Hi, I'm Beryl, and the theme for today's video is canned corned beef.
Corned beef!
Before we get too far, I do want to say that this video is made in partnership with Wondrium. I'll get to that later. Now, about canned corned beef. When I think about canned corned beef, I think about Spam. And so those two just kind of live together. And I did this video on Spam, and it really changed the way I looked at the food.
Okay, Spam. I could have eaten 3 of these.
And I think I have a similar kind of preconceived notion about canned corned beef. It was something I did not grow up with it, and I had always thought about shelf-stable meats as scary. And I know that I'm not alone in thinking about it like that, and so I thought that this episode would be a great way to disband those stereotypes. The artist today is Adam Scales. This is the first time I'm actually doing a photographer, which I think is really cool. When I was talking to him about photography, he said that every photograph is a bid for immortality. I love it. I love it. I'm leaving a link to where you can see his work and you can support him in any way that you want to support an artist. The first time that I had canned corned beef was actually quite early on. I made a dish called Internet from Indonesia, and I'm going to show that dish to you now because it is very awesome. Today I'm making Indomie telur cornet, also known as Internet. It's a bit of rice with the Indomie, green scallion, canned corned beef, and an egg. This is a really popular street food, actually, in Indonesia. I'm gonna chop up the green onion, and then I'm gonna open the canned corned beef. This was my first time, and I really struggled, a lot.
I did it!
And then I struggled some more.
Oh, God. What? Why is this so hard? I
tried to just use a can opener from the top, but that was wrong. So I had to do it again at the bottom, and success.
Good God.
So I'm gonna cut it up and cook it in a hot pan so it gets all crispy. It actually smelled really good. Boil the noodles per the package instruction. It's pretty obvious. Looking good. Okay, draining the noodles, and I'm gonna fry up my egg. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna plate it. So rice goes on the bottom. Then I'm going to add the Indomie with the seasoning packets. Cover with some green onion, the cooked corned beef, and the egg. And I'm just adding some red chili flakes and a little black sesame seed, and the dish is done. Okay. Whoa. Oh my God, this is so good. I need to come up with a new phrase other than, oh my gosh, this is so good. So I think that I probably speak for quite a few Americans when I say that I've not really dabbled in the canned meat genre. I know about Spam. I've had Spam. I think it's good. I have never had corned beef. I actually didn't even know that corned beef came in a can. Corned beef in a can is good. Frying it up makes it all crispy. It's salty. I mean, this is definitely a salty dish, but I am not complaining about that. Love salt. Love it. The Indomie noodle, opening the meat. Why was that so difficult? It was a pretty humbling experience. I will say that. If any of you are thinking, oh, that looks interesting, but I don't know about the corned beef in a can, I hear you. I was there. I'm telling you, it's good. Honestly. And now it is time to eat some canned corned beef.
Hi Beryl, I'm Elena. I'm from Pensacola, Florida, and I'm here today to tell you about corned beef hash fritters. Corned beef hash fritters are something that I grew up with and I love dearly. Basically what it is, corned beef hash is boiled potatoes with spices and then diced canned corned beef. You mix it all together, you can put it on bread or crackers, very simple. My mother would make it all the time. But that was just the one part ingredient. My favorite thing when I would come home and see Mom making corned beef hash was that I knew that the next day we were gonna be having the fritters. So with the leftovers, she would fold in the corned beef hash into just a basic pancake mix with however many pancakes we wanted. So you fold it in, you put it in the frying pan with a little butter until it's golden brown. It tastes soft and savory and warm and salty, and it's just like your mom hugging you when you eat it. It's wonderful. Canned corned beef, or canned meats in general, get a bad rap. They're misunderstood. I think it's because people don't understand how to utilize their flavor. They're intimidated by it. But once you take a step and go for it, it can be just something that you will eat and eat and eat for the rest of your days. So I remember coming home from school and I would see Mom making the corned beef hash, and I would be so excited because I knew that the fritters were coming the next day, and it was something to look forward to. And it was like, no matter what kind of day I had, whether it would be a good day or a bad day, when I would walk in that door and smell them and seeing her folding it in and getting ready, I would just be so stoked, and I would go to bed happy and healthy. And so I just wanted to share that recipe with you guys, and I hope that you take a moment to try it out, and I think that you'll really like it and enjoy. Thanks, bye.
Okay, I've got my corned beef fritter / pancake. Using the pancake mix, I thought that was so cool. Something that I've never even thought to do before. Wow, this is so... If I had a fried egg for this, that would be so good. This is like perfectly savory because, you know, corned beef is the ultimate savory food, which is everything that I want in this world. But then the pancake batter has just like a little bit of sweetness, and it creates this amazing balance. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say because I'm so impressed right now. What a way to start the episode. I am fully on board with this recipe. I know that I haven't tried the other dishes yet, but I will say that if you're somebody who's like, oh, I'm kind of curious to try canned corned beef, but I'm still nervous, this is absolutely a fabulous entry point because it's pancake first, corned beef second, but you can still taste the corned beef. I definitely would put this on everybody's to try list. You could even make them tinier and do like little appetizer ones if you were having people over, or just make them full-size pancakes like I did and like have them. Honestly, you could have it for breakfast with a fried egg, and like that would be so good.
Hi Beryl, my name's Serena and I'm from the Bahamas. Today I would like to speak to you about a national dish called fire engine. Fire engine is made from canned corned beef, which usually comes in a square can. It's reddish in color and very salty and savory. In the Bahamas, corned beef is usually eaten in the mornings for breakfast over white grits or in the evenings over white rice. Fire engine is made by sauteing sweet peppers, onions, garlic, fresh thyme, tomato paste, and canned corned beef. I tend to like it because it's quite convenient and very easy to cook. It's prepared in just little as 10 minutes. In the Bahamas, we are a country that consists of over 700 islands, which makes transportation and refrigeration for a long time very complicated. So a lot of people prefer shelf-stable meals, sort of canned meat, sort of tuna, mackerel, and corned beef. In my family, fire engine was usually one of the first dishes that we would learn to make growing up. My dad always let us help him prepare it, so it also has a very special place in my heart and memory of my father. I think someone should try it for the experience. I think they may be surprised at how savory and salty, but also very good it is. Some people may find it intimidating because of the sodium content, because for preservation reasons, but I think that it should be tried. It is awesome.
This is fire engine from the Bahamas. I looked up why it's called fire engine, and one of the things was that because of the heat from the pepper, it feels like a fire in your mouth. Fun! The spice is definitely fire engine. The lime is adding like a really nice burst of freshness. I think that the notion is with a canned meat that it's going to be overly salty and just kind of like maybe an overwhelming flavor because of preservatives. However, this tastes super fresh. I'm digging it. It definitely has like the flavors of the Caribbean here. It's really good. I know that like the chances are a lot of you aren't gonna try a lot of these, but it's like this is just such a great way to not only expand your palate, but to expand your worldview. This is my second dish. I'm converted. Canned corned beef for the win. I feel like the tomato paste with the excuse me. I feel like the tomato paste with the lime juice is blending to help alleviate the saltiness of the meat. With the rice, everything comes together. It's like filling, it's delicious, it's so flavorful. I think when it comes to having canned corned beef, you're not gonna have a bland dish. And starting from that point is like, that's always a good thing, right?
Hi everyone, I'm Tia. I'm from Melbourne, or Nam, the traditional lands of the Kulin Nation here in Australia. And the dish that I'm going to introduce to you today is a baked macaroni. So this dish, as the name suggests, is a baked pasta dish. It combines tube pasta with the corned beef sauce, Parmesan cheese, eggs as a bonder, and then it's baked in the oven until the top goes all dark and crispy. I like this dish a lot because it's a real staple in my family. The dish actually comes from Malta, where my grandpa was born, and based on the simplicity of the ingredients and the recipe, we actually believe that it was a wartime dish. It's cooked in big batches and it's easy to make, so it would have been a really simple way to feed a large family on a tight budget. Baked macaroni was actually one of the first cultural dishes that my nan learned to make after she got married to my grandpa. She actually got the recipe from my great grandmother Magdalena, and then she passed it on to my mum and then on to me. Growing up in a multicultural family in Australia, this dish has been one of the few ways that we've been able to stay connected to our Maltese roots since my grandpa died. And my nan still makes it for us today. I think people should try this dish because it's extremely heartwarming. There's something about the combination of flavors that makes me feel really happy, and given how difficult times have been lately with this pandemic, I think everyone could use a little carb-induced joy.
So this is a baked corned beef and macaroni bake. Corned beef and macaroni bake from Australia, but obviously the roots of it came from Malta, and I loved seeing photos of Tia and her grandmother. Tastes like ragu. Huh. The curry is interesting though. Oh no, the shifting light. Cloud, go back. The curry powder that I used was a curry powder from my Indian grocery store, and Tia did say to use a mild curry powder, but I didn't want to buy more curry powder, so I was like, well, this will probably be fine. I will say that it's definitely strong. However, I do think it like also still gives it like a really nice back flavor. The Parmesan cheese crustiness though is good. Crusty Parmesan cheese is a simple pleasure, but something that I cherish. This is a really nice twist on like a traditional baked pasta dish, and a cool way to shake it up. And honestly, like this tastes just like any sort of beef sauce, but was like 10,000 times faster to make. Like this dish took 2 seconds to put together. I did a little bit of reading about Malta and I was curious, like, why was corned beef there? And it was because of British occupation. The British really brought corned beef like everywhere they went as a military force, and so you'll see corned beef in a lot of places where there were military strongholds from occupiers. And as you guys may know, or as you've learned from this channel even, when these outside dishes and foods come in, they get readapted and brought into the local cuisine. And so now corned beef is a part of Maltese cuisine, which was really surprising and interesting to learn. And this is a great segue to talk about the sponsor today, Wondrium, and I wanted to pair with them because I feel like the concept of Wondrium is to be curious about the world, and that is me to a T. I'm a very curious person, and I feel like a lot of you are curious as well, and that's why you like this channel, or maybe you just like watching me eat. I don't know. If you've never heard of Wondrium, it is a site that hosts short and long-form documentaries, tutorials, and how-tos that honestly cover the gambit. You can find everything from a documentary about the foods that people ate in ancient Rome, all the way to how the 1960s shaped the Beatles and the music that they came out with. The videos are well produced, they're led by experts, and it's a great way to explore your curiosity about things. I did watch a tutorial on there after the knife incident of last week. And it was on how to properly cut an onion, like keeping your fingers tucked and the different ways that you can get a dice. And like, it was just really interesting, and it was great to be taught by a chef. And I liked that. If you are curious, you can get a free trial. Just go to wondrium.com/Beryl and it'll give you access to their whole library.
Hi Beryl, my name is Bethan and I'm from Great Britain. I live in Ceredigion in West Wales. The dish I'm sharing with everyone today is the corned beef rissole from Wales. Around the world, it seems there are variations on rissoles which are more like kind of meatball type things, but in Wales they're a bit different. They're commonly sold in fish and chip shops and people rarely make them at home. Welsh rissoles are traditionally made with good quality canned corned beef. I do think that corned beef, along with other preserved meats, is kind of misunderstood. I think that people tend to overlook them because they're off-put by the idea of a meat in a can. But that's really a shame because it's such a versatile ingredient. It's been around since the 18th century and it's cost-effective and long-lasting. And if you prepare it just right, it can be just as delicious and comforting as fresh meat. The corned beef is chopped up and mixed with cold mashed potatoes, sautéed diced onions, and your choice of herbs. We tend to use dried thyme or sage. Rissoles are pretty hefty, and in my opinion, they're a great pick-me-up after spending a day at the beach. Welsh weather tends to get a bad rap, but rissoles make up for any amount of rain, and after swimming in the freezing Cardigan Bay, a rissole is just what you want to warm you up. The origin of the corned beef rissole is actually quite unclear. Some people suggest that a potato and herb version came to Wales from Italy around the 17th century, and that corned beef was only added during rationing in World War II. However, some people can remember corned beef rissoles from before then. So, obviously you can tell from my accent that I'm only half Welsh. My dad is Welsh, and although I grew up in England, I would often go over to Wales to visit my family. I first tried a rissole when my dad took me to his favourite fish bar in Gower, which is this really beautiful area on the South Wales coast. I distinctly remember how excited he was for me to try them, and that really made them extra special. Whenever I have a rissole now, they always make me think of him, and since I moved to Wales, I get so excited whenever I get to share a rissole with someone who's never tried one before. I think people should try rissoles because they're so unique and delicious, and they're really perfect after you had a long hard day, just to treat yourself. I really hope you give them a try, even if you can't get a proper one from a Welsh chip shop.
So this is the Welsh rissole, and like, I feel like this looks like what fried food looks like, if that makes sense. Like, it looks perfect, is what I'm trying to say. It's brown. That was the ketchup. And I feel like, you guys know, like, a little bit of QP never hurt anybody. Ah. Oh my god, ha. I couldn't do it. This was so hot. You probably can't see the steam. There's literally steam coming out of it. No wonder I struggled. I need to wait. What's wrong with me? Wow. I mean, yeah, this is pretty good. I don't think this is something that I would like make at home, but now if I ever saw this on a menu, I think I would definitely order this. These took a little long to make because you had to cool them so many times. And I think that cooling them all those times is what made the batter so perfect. That's definitely something that I've never really thought about before, like being patient before you deep fry. But you know how sometimes like food sets a tone? This is making me want to like be in a pub after a long day of hiking and like having a beer, or no, probably having a cider and like ordering one of these. This was something I never expected to make at home, thoroughly enjoyed it. And I also feel like I learned a lot about deep frying.
Hi, my name's Giselle and I'm from the Philippines. The dish I want to share with you today is called Cornsilog. A silog is any dish in the Philippines with sinangag, which is fried rice, and itlog, which is egg. There are different varieties of silog dishes in the Philippines, but today's episode is all about corned beef, so I'm going to talk to you all about cornsilog. It's quite easy to make. First, you make fried rice with day-old rice and lots of minced garlic. The Philippines is a nation of garlic lovers. Cornsilog is usually a breakfast dish, so we like to use leftover rice from last night's dinner. Then, you saute your corned beef with sliced onions and of course, more garlic. This dish reminds me of weekend breakfasts with my family and also as a late night drunk food after a night out with friends. You can literally find silog places everywhere in the Philippines which are open 24/7, so it's also a favorite late night hangover fare after a night out of partying and drinking with friends. You should definitely try this dish. It's simple, it's hearty, and it's foolproof. A lot of people think of corned beef as disgusting and super unhealthy, but there are definitely ways to make it delicious, and just like with any other food items, when eaten in moderation, is okay. Enjoy!
So this is cornsilog, and I can already tell you that everything smells like beautiful garlic in my house, and I love that. Oh, like garlic fried rice? I mean, yeah. Garlicky. I would say of all the preparations so far, this one tastes the most corned beefy. Like there's not much else in the hash, right? Other than the corned beef. Ooh, like look at, that's a runny yolk. I mean, you guys know this about me, that I love savory breakfasts. Like this might be the queen of them all. I know that I do a lot of dishes from the Philippines, and that's for two reasons. One, a lot of you guys are from the Philippines and request them. And two, this is just really a cuisine that I'm just not that familiar with, and I love exploring cuisines that I really don't know much about and finding things that I like. Each element individually is really good, but together, it's like an explosion of flavor. It's delicious. This is something that I actually did not mention, but I've been using a few different types of corned beef, and I can't tell the difference between any of them. They all taste the same to me. I do think, though, of all the dishes, this one is making me the thirstiest. I don't want any of those high sodium comments.
Hello everyone, my name is Meralis and I am from the town of Adjuntas in the island of Puerto Rico in the Caribbean, and the dish that I want to share with you today is called Canoes de plátanos maduros rellenas de corned beef, which more or less translates to sweet plantain canoes stuffed with corned beef. Back home, this dish was mostly for special occasions, and you can eat it either for lunch or dinner. I like this dish because it's very festive. It's nice looking, it's very special, and I've never seen something like this in any other country that I have visited. Corned beef is associated with hurricane season, at least in my household. But a very recent memory that I treasure very much happened 15 years ago, perhaps more. And I was staying in a beach cabin with my father and my sister, and my father brought some corned beef and rice and one plantain. And we had such a lovely dinner that afternoon. It was very nice. I remember the flavors, I remember the ocean, I remember the laughter. It was very nice. I treasure that memory. And nowadays we still talk about that dinner, so we definitely need to repeat that. I'm not here to defend corned beef at all, but I have to say that it served its purpose back in the day, and perhaps in modern times, like in this day and time, is not as needed as it was before, but we can't deny that it's part of our culture.
Well, this is the big one. My stuffed plantain from Puerto Rico. I mean, this is definitely reminding me when I did my banana episode of the plantains with melted cheese on top. I've never thought to stuff a plantain. I'm imagining this is a hearty meal. Whoa. What? It's like sweet and salty and soft, but also kind of crunchy. I didn't grow up eating plantains, and so whenever I eat them, I feel like I'm always like, oh my god, these are great. Plantains are really great. And versatile. The recipe that I followed, I'm leaving a link in the description. The guy was so fabulous. He honestly, like, there was nothing fancy about his cooking video, but it was just really easy to follow. I liked it. As far as the corned beef goes in this one, I somehow like not noticed it that much. Like, it feels meaty, but it doesn't have the same flavor that the Filipino breakfast corned beef had. There is just so much happening inside that mixture, and then you have the plantain that I guess I'm not that surprised. What is... There's a sticker on the bottom of the plate. I kept being like, what is on my hand? Oh yeah. There's a sticker on this. I was like trying to be cool, but the whole time I was like, what is sticky? This would be a really great meal for a group. It's not only is it like super cost effective, but it is hearty. I mean, like, I'm full. I had half a plantain. I didn't even have the rice. Like, I'm full. One more bite. I feel like that's the anthem, right? I'm full. One more bite. Having gone through this episode, I now feel like I really do have a better sense of this ingredient and a better understanding of how canned corned beef is used around the world. You can't judge a meat by the tin that it's in. I think most of all, what I've really learned is that there are food narratives that exist, and it's worthwhile to question them and to question whether or not what you've heard is what you actually believe, or if you're just going with the consensus. And honestly, I imagine that most of the consensus is just going with the consensus. So that's just to say, try new things because they might really surprise you. And that's it. I hope that you guys like this video, and I hope that you give some of these recipes a try. They are all in the description, and I will see you next week.